Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Lex Morningstar and this YouTube channel is about the 16 personality types, especially INFP, and today we are going to be looking at the differences between the INFP and the ESTJ. Now some of you may notice a bit of a difference with the picture that you're looking at, and I got my trusty old mic back. Now what actually ended up happening was in November last year when I was filming the docu-series, my son, who is 2, accidentally dropped our Mac and the Mac broke. So thank goodness for contents insurance, we were able to replace the Mac with a small charge. However, we lost a few of our programs, of course, on the computer. Some of that was due to laziness. I've been using my other mic, which is attached to my Canon, which is what I use to film this, but you guys probably don't really care about that, so we'll just get straight into this video. So this video is about looking at the differences between the INFP and the ESTJ and highlighting the issues that can come up between both types, especially when they're working together or when they're together in a relationship or they have some kind of affiliation with each other. Now, I am not here to point out the things I don't like in the ESTJ because I know a few really good ESTJs who work really hard at practicing empathy and all the things that the INFP is good at. So this isn't to demonize the ESTJ, and I respect the fact that many of you INFPs out there and other types, of course, are in relationships with ESTJs or have friendships with ESTJs that you really value, and the ESTJ is so great. They add such value to this world that is incomparable, and we do certainly need the ESTJ on this planet. But oh, hello, I'm loved. But today I am just focusing more on when these two relationships between the INFP and the ESTJ get quite unhealthy, and what that looks like, what that feels like, and how to better relate to each other. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is look at the INFP and the ESTJ's cognitive functions. So once we look at these functions, it kind of gives us an easier perception of how we view each type and why these differences and conflicts occur. So of course, these cognitive functions are split into 4 different categories. The INFP will lead by introverted feeling, which is valuing and considering importance, beliefs, and worth. And their supporting function is extroverted intuition, which is interpreting situations and relationships and pick up meanings and interconnections to other contexts. And their relief function is introverted sensing, which is reviewing and recalling past experiences and seeking detailed data. And their aspirational function is extroverted thinking, which is segmenting, organizing for efficiency, and systematizing. So if we look at the ESTJ, this process is in reversal. It is a mirror image. So their leading function is extroverted thinking for segmenting, organizing for efficiency, and systemizing. The supporting function is introverted sensing for reviewing and recalling past experiences and seeking detailed data. The relief function is extroverted intuition for interpreting situations and relationships and pick up meanings and interconnections to other contexts. And their aspirational function is introverted feeling for valuing and considering importance, beliefs, and worth. So just from the sheer fact that these 2 cognitive functions are a mirror image of each other, except one of them's flipped upside down, it just goes to show already that there are key differences, extreme differences even. And these kind of conflicts I have personally come up against with other ESTJs, which have been extremely challenging at certain points in my life. Now, these ESTJs I wouldn't say were the most healthiest. So as an INFP, those situations have been very difficult to deal with. But to sum up these 2 different types, the INFP will support anything that allows the unfolding of the person. They encourage growth and development with quiet enthusiasm. They're loyal advocates and champions, caring deeply about their causes and a few special people. They're interested in contemplating life's mysteries, virtues, and vices in their search for wholeness. They thrive on healing conflicts within and between and taking people to the center of themselves. And the ESTJ is interested in ensuring that standards are met, resources conserved, and consequences delivered. Talents lie in bringing order, structure, and completion. They want to keep order so that the organization, group, family, or culture will be preserved.
Let us preserve what must be preserved.
They thrive on organizing and following through with commitments and teaching others how to be successful. So as you can see, these two types are virtually polar opposites and therefore present certain challenges when they're in relationships with each other or when they have to associate with each other. And this can be a real growing experience for both the INFP and ESTJ. So these two types can work really well together when they're both really healthy and have open minds and want to learn and grow as individuals. But the key differences lie with the ESTJ thriving on order, routine, and tried and true methods to get things done. The ESTJ values completing tasks with a no-nonsense attitude, and therefore they have no issue correcting others, even if they need to be blunt and use tough love. They are often viewed as hard taskmasters, and they're not afraid to push buttons if it means they can create results. And the INFP, on the other hand, is open to exploring new, creative, and innovative concepts, and they don't like to feel constrained by restrictions and routine. They value ideas, people, and the fundamental meaning behind concepts they care about, often translating into being a force behind a cause. They thrive off positive reinforcement rather than feeling scolded and often take harsh criticisms as a reflection on their character. So as you can see from these key differences between the INFP and the ESTJ, it is very likely that there will be conflicts arising, especially when it comes to production, when it comes to getting results. The INFP loves to explore unexplored ideas and concepts, and they love anything that's innovative and creative and groundbreaking, something that will inspire other people. Whereas the ESTJ whereas the ESTJ will trust tried and true methods. Oh my God, that was hard to say. You try and say that. In this kind of environment, the INFP will feel that they are being restricted, whereas the ESTJ will feel like they're trying to teach the INFP how to get results by adopting routine and by adopting things that work. Now, the ESTJ is not afraid to say things how they are, and they don't really care about hurting other people's feelings if it means that the job's going to get done. And the INFP, on the other hand, is going to take criticisms, especially if they're like pretty harsh. They're going to take those criticisms to heart and as a reflection of their character. And the INFP will tend to have perfectionist tendencies and will know where their weak spots are before the ESTJ will even start thinking about it. So like, they're very, very self-reflective. So the ESTJ doesn't need to be so harsh because the INFP will already know where they're slipping between the cracks. I have dealt with many ESTJs in my life, and in a lot of those cases, it's been in a work environment where the ESTJ has been my manager. ESTJs love being managers because they love to manage people. They love to get results out of people. So it's not surprising there that I have had ESTJ managers. But these ESTJ managers haven't been healthy in the slightest. And I would even go as far as to say that these people were narcissists. Now, I feel that there could be a correlation between ESTJs and narcissism and INFPs and empaths or HSPs. I don't know. I don't really want to say that because I don't feel that I'm qualified to make those correlations, but it's just an interesting concept to think about. I feel that the ESTJ or the ENTJ or the ISTJ or any of those kinds of types are more prone to being narcissists, whereas NFs and the like are more likely to be empaths and highly sensitive people. Just from my personal observations, from my anecdotal experiences. So on that note, the ESTJs in my life that had negatively impacted me, and I'm talking like to the point where I had developed a lot of fear and anxiety for going into my particular jobs. And it wasn't because I didn't enjoy the work or I wanted to work hard. I was a really, really hard worker. I am a really hard worker because I care about the companies I work for and I want to make a difference. And that's something about the INFP. INFPs love to make a difference, and if they can do it in their own way, that's even better. But for me, the ESTJs didn't exactly get me, or I felt like they didn't trust me. I don't really know what it was, but these two ESTJs in particular, they weren't healthy at all, and I felt like they took a lifetime worth of their own issues out on me, whether it's because they didn't have that same control at home or they had bottled up their own emotions and stuff that they hadn't yet addressed. I'm not really sure what it was, but all I know is that through these two particular experiences, I was dealing with narcissists. Now, I won't go into detail with these stories because I could be here yapping all day and you don't really want to sit through that. But basically, to sum these two particular people up, they shared very, very similar traits, personality traits. One of the key elements is that they enjoyed blaming me for faults of their own. They had extreme anger issues that they weren't afraid to lash out at me. They weren't afraid to call me particular names when they didn't agree with the way I would do things. Very derogatory names such as I'm dumb. For some reason, both of these ESTJs wanted to heavily involve themselves in my personal life, which I found to be very inappropriate. But they would go on to say that my dreams of becoming a content creator were extremely unrealistic, that my partner was going to leave me, that my parents didn't instill work ethic into me because they were hippies. They would tell me that my family didn't care about me and that I was not worth investing into. They didn't understand my thought process. They did not understand or accept that I had a particular learning style that if they were to encourage me by giving me positive feedback, gentle encouragement, and gentle criticism, that I would have thrived. But instead, they would tear me down and bully me into submission. I don't know why they thought this would work, but they did. They tried. But as a result, I would end up working in a certain way, their certain way, out of fear. I was afraid to perform certain tasks in fear that I would be scolded, that I would be abused and run so far into the ground that I would just kind of break. And I did break. There was a time when I was so damaged from the experience of, especially with the second person, that I was so damaged from the experience that I could not sleep at night. I was afraid to go to work. And all because this particular woman, she was so damaged in her own life and her own experiences on this earth that she felt that I became a scapegoat and she could use me as a pincushion or a punching bag to get out all of her anger. She was a clear example of an unhealthy ESTJ, and it didn't matter how much I tried to improve. by hardening up or trying not to worry about her behavior towards me. But it did not matter. None of that mattered because she would still throw the abuse at me. And throughout these two experiences that I had with these women, I ended up leaving because I valued my mental health over staying at a job, you know. So this kind of behavior, if you will, I feel is really normal in many kind of jobs across the spectrum, but especially in the trades community. I have known many males to be subjected to this kind of abuse and this behavior because there is this macho mentality in the trades community that can be really damaging. Now, I'm not saying that the ESTJ is the cause of these problems or that every ESTJ is going to act that way or every narcissist is an ESTJ at all. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm certainly not qualified to claim that at all. But I will say, however, that more gentler personalities, more of the sensitive type of folk, aren't really accepted into society, and especially in trades or certain kind of jobs that require a certain thick skin. The sensitive person has no place there. But that is certainly not true because the sensitive person brings other things to the table that are incomparable. And I think that many ESTJs, where they go wrong is that they aren't open-minded enough to understand it if they just let the creative, sensitive kind of person, if they let them just do what they need to do, that the results that the ESTJ are looking for can happen tenfold. There is certainly a time and place for everything, of course. There is a time and place for the INFP to slip into routine and to do as they're told, and there is a place for the ESTJ to open their minds and to let people be themselves. So what is the idea to solving these two conflicts between the INFP and the ESTJ? Well, I believe that those conflicts won't go away. I believe that the conflicts are an important lesson for both types. I believe because they are a mirror image reversed and flipped upside down of each other, that they're both there to teach each other important things in life that help each other to grow, helps the INFP to develop a thick skin and to think of things critically and practically. And whereas with the ESTJ, they can learn how to become more compassionate, more open-minded, and just chill out a little bit, you know? And that, of course, is taking away any kind of assumption that the ESTJ is a narcissist or that the INFP is an empath, because, as I said, it's interesting to find a correlation between that kind of thing, but I don't want to go making that kind of statement where I'm certainly not qualified to. But to wrap this up, I want to know your experience with an ESTJ. If you could pop a little story down below in the comment section, I would love to hear it. But for now, I hope you have a really good day, night, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you guys all again next time. Bye.
When this one